Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, while Bitcoin is still playing out the short-term bullish relief heading towards the next major price targets, we're continuing to see a pullback in the Bitcoin dominance, which is massive news for the altcoin market, especially Ethereum, now officially confirming the bullish breakout from this bullish price pattern, setting up a new trading opportunity, which, yes, I am taking this trade for Ethereum. So in just a moment, I'll be sharing my exact trading strategy for this move that is just beginning, while the price of Solana is also getting extremely close to its own potential breakout here. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And of course, on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have a possible bearish divergence to watch out for, as we do have higher highs forming in the price and also lower highs forming in the weekly Bitcoin RSI. But at least for now, this is not yet confirmed, just something to watch out for in the coming weeks or months. And on the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, at least for now, in the shorter term, we're still losing a bit of bullish momentum, just cooling off a little bit after the recent bullish move over the last few weeks. But overall, we're still looking more bullish than bearish. Even though we're losing a bit of bullish momentum, we're not really seeing any bearish momentum or anything like that. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart here, we can still see a bullish cup and handle pattern, which at least as of right now is technically still active despite the current short-term pause or short-term cool-off in this bullish move. Technically, this only invalidates if we see a confirmed break with candle closes back below this level right here at around 110,000. And so overall, the larger timeframes have not really changed all that much for Bitcoin over the last few days. We're still within a larger bull market, but just in the shorter term, taking a bit of a pause, losing some momentum in the shorter term. And on this daily Bitcoin price chart, it's a similar situation. Obviously, we're resetting the price oscillators like the RSI, for example, which at least for now is some weakness in the short term here. Obviously, once again, we're losing a lot of bullish momentum as we're running into significant resistance in the low 120K area. But despite this happening in the shorter term, just cooling off a little bit, playing out some choppy sideways price action and even some slight little pullbacks here and there, overall the larger price structure is still currently looking bullish. Once again, we're just taking a bit of a short-term cool-off for a period of weeks as a likely scenario. Obviously, it's already been around 1 to 2 weeks, and it could possibly be another 1 to 2 weeks, so just keep that in mind. But we're still once again within a larger bull market if we're zooming out, looking at the bigger picture. And if we're zooming into the shorter term again, taking a look at the 4-hour time frame, we can see that in the immediate short term, we're back in this previous sideways price range and currently playing out a short-term bullish relief during this cool-off phase that we're in right now. And as for support and resistance in the immediate short term, I'd expect a lot of support again in this area based on previous support sitting in between around 116,000 to 117,000. And as for resistance, I would expect some short-term resistance at around 118.4K to 118.5K based on previous support here and also previous resistance here, flipping into new resistance. And then above that, we could find some short-term resistance at around 119.1K to 119.3K. But the next major area of resistance in the short term really starts at around 120,000, in between 120,000 to 121,000. But remember, just in the shorter term for the time being, even if we see a little bit more of a short-term bullish move or another short-term bearish move, either way, we're simply lacking momentum to either direction in the shorter term. Obviously, we're basically just bouncing around sideways, relatively neutral for now, lacking momentum, but still within a larger bull market. So as I've been saying this entire time, this could likely play out over maybe a couple of weeks or so before we ultimately get ready for that next major bullish move to continue that larger bull market on the larger timeframes. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, at least for now, the main level of liquidity to watch out for in the shorter term is at around 120,000, just above 120,000. So really at around 120.3K to 120.5K, which essentially means, in case you're new to all of this, usually the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where there's a lot of liquidity, especially if it's relatively close to the price. So in other words, this is kind of acting as a magnet for the price of Bitcoin right around here, which could potentially draw the price towards this level of liquidity roughly around here, which obviously is where this major area of resistance starts. And so it could be a likely scenario that in the coming days, maybe over the next week or so, we slowly make our way towards this area of resistance. And then once again, at potentially some of these points of resistance along the way, we could start to struggle a little bit because overall we're still lacking momentum. At least for now, we're still in that cool off period in the market, the cool off phase. But once again, that's during a larger bull market on the larger timeframes. And so obviously not a lot has changed over the last one day, but if you want to get set up ready to go to take the next trading opportunity, which I'm already doing right now, and I'll talk about this in just a moment, obviously you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking a lot of my crypto trades over on BTNX, so I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading and deposit bonuses. For example, you can claim up to $40,000 in trading bonuses. And also, if you deposit just $1,000 using the link below this video, you get a $200 bonus into your BTNX account. It's basically free money from the exchange you can actually use to trade, but you can only claim these massive bonuses here if you use that first link below this video to actually make your BTNX accounts. If you're going to be trading crypto anyway or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using that first link below this video to take advantage of these major bonuses here. And in case you're wondering, BTNX is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want BTNX as an exchange, there's also 2bit as another option out there, another exchange that I also trade on. So I will also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page where you can also claim some massive trading bonuses. For example, up to $50,000 in trading bonuses, and also a $30 sign up bonus and a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you deposit just $1,000, you also get a $200 bonus on your 2bit account, but once again, only if you use that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, definitely check these exchanges out. First and second link below this video to take advantage of these major bonuses here. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart here on the 3-day time frame, at least for now, we're still actively playing out the bearish divergence, which is of course bearish for the Bitcoin dominance. And so yes, occasionally we can see a little bounce here and there along the way towards the downside, like bouncing from this level of support, for example, and it's possible we see another bounce sometime. But of course, while the bearish divergence is still active, overall, this is pointing towards potentially a continued pullback over the next few weeks, during the next few weeks or so, as a likely scenario for the Bitcoin dominance. And obviously, I've been talking about exactly that playing out since all the way back up here, telling you that essentially this means an altcoin season is starting. Once again, we've already seen that started to play out over the last couple of weeks, with a lot of the major altcoins simply outperforming whatever Bitcoin has been doing. So for example, if Bitcoin is just playing out a slight bullish relief or bouncing around sideways, a lot of the altcoins are actually seeing some decent gains, especially Ethereum has obviously had a decent gain over the last few weeks. And so if we're taking a look at this 3-day Ethereum price chart, we can see that right now, as I'm recording this video, the price of ETH is coming in for another test of this significant area of resistance, starting at close to 3.9K, going up towards roughly 4.1K. So in the high $3,000 area, as we approach especially 4,000, that is very significant resistance to pay attention to, because for well over a year now, since the beginning of 2024, pretty much, we've seen many significant rejections from this exact area on the price chart, proving it as very strong resistance time and time again. But above around 4.1K, give or take, above that level, we don't really have any other significant point of resistance between that level and the all-time high at roughly 4.9K, basically just underneath 5,000. So that essentially means once we can eventually break out above this area, with candle closes confirming above this area and holding above this area, then in that situation, it will be extremely likely we would continue to see a major run towards the upside, towards all-time record highs. I'm talking about roughly $5,000, if not higher. And so obviously continue to pay attention to this area on the price chart, which is where the price would most likely struggle at or possibly reject from. So I'll be talking about this area in just a moment to do with my trading strategy. Obviously, it might be wise to at least take a little bit of profits off the table as we approach this area from this short-term long position here, not necessarily selling long-term Ethereum, but once again, I'll talk about that in just a moment. If we're taking a look at the daily time frame, when it comes to support to watch out for, we still have a lot of support at around 3.5K and also in between 3.2K to 3.3K if the price were to actually get back down there. And clearly the larger trends, the larger price structure on the daily time frame is very much bullish right now, despite seeing little pullbacks along the way. Of course, once again, we're still within a clear bullish trend if we're zooming out looking at this bigger picture here. And obviously I've been saying that, especially once we break out above 2.8k from that point onwards, I've been saying expect a major bullish move coming next. And obviously we've already started to see that play out. And I'm saying the same right now. If we break out above 4.1k, expect another significant bullish move, potentially like what we just saw over the last few weeks. But we still have to actually break out above that area, just like how obviously we still had to break out above this golden pocket down here at around 2.7k to 2.8k, which for some time was acting as strong resistance for the price. But then the moment we broke out above that area, obviously we head a lot higher. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term on the 2-hour time frame, over the last one day, we've now officially confirmed a breakout for this bullish price pattern and ascending triangle pattern, which I talked about in my last video before the breakout here. I said it's more likely it would break out towards the upside compared towards the downside. But as always, we need to actually wait for confirmation in order to technically confirm this pattern and confirm the price target. But what we've just seen over the last one day is not only candle closes above this line of resistance, which was sitting at around 3760 approximately. Not only have we confirmed that breakout that way, we've also just seen a retest flipping this previous level of resistance into new support. And we've just perfectly bounced from that level, as we could see, which is another confirmation signal helping to confirm the breakout. So right now, this would only invalidate the price target if we see candle closes back below this level right here at, once again, around 3760. But now that the price is holding above this area and obviously breaking out here, we now have a technical price target in play, which I talked about in my last video once again. But in case you missed my last video, this technical price target is sitting at around 3970, so in the high 3.9k range, just underneath 4,000. But of course, between that area right there, between the current price and that area, starting at especially around 3.9k to 4,000, around here, we have that major area of resistance to pay attention to. So it is possible the price could start to struggle before actually hitting that price target. And so, for example, if you're taking just a short-term long position here to trade this breakout move, it would maybe make a bit of sense, not financial advice, to take a little bit of profits off the table as we approach the price target rather than just waiting for the exact price target to close the entire trade. Personally, I'll maybe take a little bit of profits beforehand out of a short-term long position. But of course, we could just slowly scale out of the trade as the price goes higher and not close the entire trade at any one level. Personally, that's just how I like to do things because it's got pretty much the best risk to reward ratio. It's reducing your risk and still getting some decent returns. As always, not financial advice. And then of course, as the trade moves further and further into profits, personally, I'd like to move my stop loss further and further into profits. And so if we're taking a look at my exact trade right now, as always, I put my money where my mouth is, being extremely transparent. Right now, as of recording this video, I'm currently in a $300,000 Ethereum long position, as we can see right here. And I only just ended this trade a matter of hours ago on this retest right here. And so we could see that right now it's just started to move into the profits. And once again, simply on BTNX, as you can see, you can drag this line right here to place a stop loss. So just above my entry, now I have a stop loss sitting here and I can move that wherever I want. And so we can see right here, if, for example, I just leave my stop loss at this level, then even in the worst case scenario, I'll still come away with $1,000 profit approximately from this long position. Even if the price just crashed for whatever reason, it would hit the stop loss and close the trade automatically at that level, coming away with profits. That's the beauty of having a stop loss sitting in profits. But of course, this is just showing an example of a stop loss. I may end up just moving this stop loss slightly after this video, but overall, as I always say, as the trade moves further into profits, I will slowly move the stop loss further and further into profits. That's usually what I end up doing. And then potentially, as we approach this previous local high that we set back around a week ago at roughly around 38.50, obviously we do have some resistance around there starting to run into this significant area of resistance. So we have to understand there is a possible risk of seeing another rejection from this area. That's still a possibility that we need to consider. And so potentially if the price heads up towards roughly 38.50, 38.60, especially as we approach 3.9k, I may look to just slightly reduce the size of the trade, taking a bit of profits off the table out of this long position at some of those levels right there, just to simply reduce the risk of potentially another rejection here. But of course, I'll not close the entire trade all in one go, just slightly reducing the size of the trade so that if we actually just simply break through this level, obviously in that situation, I'll still remain long on the price of ETH, trading that next major bullish move. And so that is my exact trading strategy, which I'm currently using right now with my own money, as we can see here. And of course, once again, I'm taking this trade right here over on my BTNX account. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitnex below this video. And remember, if you use that link to Bitnex, you can take advantage of some major trading and deposit bonuses that are only available using that link. And with that being said, taking a look at the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, we can see that right now Solana is still struggling just underneath this major area of resistance, still sitting in between around roughly 190 to 200. So obviously continue to expect the price to struggle a lot around there. And as for support, continue to expect a lot of support at roughly 180 and also at around 167 if the price would actually get back down there. But overall, the larger trend is technically still bullish, despite in the short term seeing a bit of struggle around major resistance. And if ultimately we break out above this area, confirming candle closes above 200, in that situation, I'd expect to move towards the next Fibonacci level, sitting at around $230. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at just the 1 hour time frame, this is also somewhat visible on the 2 hour time frame. We could see a possible inverse head and shoulders pattern here. Now, obviously, it's not really a perfect textbook inverse head and shoulders pattern. Obviously, the shoulders are pretty much different size as we can see, but if enough traders trade this as if it's an inverse head and shoulders pattern, placing long positions at this breakout, it can basically play out as a self-fulfilling prophecy if there's enough buying pressure right here to push the price higher. And so I'd at least just pay attention to this short-term price pattern for the price of Solana, because once again, if we confirm candle closes above this line right here, which has proven to be some major resistance, at least in the shorter term, obviously that would be at least a short-term bullish signal. And this line of resistance, in case you're wondering, is sitting at just above 188, so around 188 to 189. And if we're measuring out the technical price target, if we first confirm a breakout with candle closes above this resistance, then in that situation, a technical price target for an inverse head and shoulders pattern like this, which is a bullish price pattern, if we confirm the breakout, that will set up a price target at roughly $201 to $202. So from the point of the breakout here to that price target, that's around a 7% move towards the upside with no leverage, so potentially a trading opportunity. But as always, it's important to understand there's other points of support and resistance where the price can possibly struggle at. So for example, this significant resistance at roughly 190 to 200. So keep in mind, even if we break out above around 188 right here, it's possible you run into this resistance right here and struggle in this area just under 200. And so despite this being a possible price pattern, which could ultimately play out, of course, it's not the ideal trading strategy to pay attention to, considering we still have major resistance just above the price where the price could possibly struggle at. And so if you're more of a high risk trader, not financial advice, this is a potential trading opportunity, but just be aware of the risks involved, like this resistance, which could cause the price to struggle in that area. But once again, at least for now, even this technical price target right here is not currently confirmed as of recording this video, because we've not even confirmed the breakout above this neckline for the inverse head and shoulders pattern. And of course, if we never confirm the breakout here, we never confirm the price target. And as always, if we first confirm the breakout and then break back below the neckline, that would invalidate the price pattern and invalidate the price target. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, at least for now, XRP is still using that $3 level as very significant support, and the next major point of resistance, at least based on the Fibonacci extensions on the weekly time frame, is sitting at around $4.60 to $4.70. And technically speaking, we still have a major bearish divergence to watch out for, with higher highs confirmed in the price in the candle closes on the weekly time frame, and lower highs still currently forming on the weekly XRP RSI. But at least for now, this is just something to pay attention to, and it's not currently confirmed. Overall, we're technically still within a larger bull market, forming higher lows and higher highs. At least for now, that is the situation on the larger time frames. And taking a look at the daily XRP price chart, obviously the price is still basically just settling down a little bit after previously a lot of volatility over the last couple of weeks. And obviously this is exactly what I've been talking about as the most likely scenario over the last few days. I've already been saying for the last few days, expect relatively boring price action, most likely for around 1 to 2 weeks, as the price just cools off a little bit, just settles down after we saw that major breakback below this key level on the price chart at around $3.40. And so I'll now expect a lot of resistance again, especially at around $3.40, but really in between $3.30 to $3.40, expect resistance in that area, and more resistance at closer towards $3.60. And once again, significant support at around $2.90 to $3. And so overall, just continue to expect relatively boring price action, relatively neutral price action in the shorter term for the price of XRP, at least over the next few days, possibly another 1 or 2 weeks or so. But of course, if the Bitcoin dominance continues another major pullback, of course, that can help the price of XRP spark another bullish move soon enough. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, at least for now, Chainlink is continuing the short-term bounce from this very significant area on the price chart, still sitting in between around $17.50 to $18. So obviously previously this has been very significant resistance for the price and is now acting as new support, which is bullish price structure. Anytime we flip previous significant resistance into new support, obviously that is price structure heading in the bullish direction. And so overall on the larger time frames, the longer term situation, talking about the next few months or throughout the rest of the year, we're still looking overall very much bullish for the price of Chainlink on these larger time frames, and that would only potentially change if we start to break some of these key levels to the downside. But for now, obviously that's not yet happened, so we're still looking bullish on the larger time frames. And taking a look at this daily Chainlink price chart, once again we have a lot of support at roughly $17.60 give or take, so in that area I just mentioned, in between $17.50 to $18. But if we were to break below that area with confirmation, so candle closes below that area, in that situation we would have likely seen a drop down towards around $15.50, but obviously we're still holding above around $17.50 to $18. And as for the next significant resistance to watch out for the price of Chainlink, that's starting at roughly $20 and sitting in between around $20 to $21. So as the price approaches roughly $20, start to expect a lot of resistance, a lot of struggle around that area. But obviously I've been saying that since before we just saw that perfect rejection around a week ago from that exact area that I've been warning about. And so overall, my expectations for the price of Chainlink is that we're still within a larger bullish trend. We're in a bit of a cooler phase in the market, but in the immediate short term for the next couple of days, we're likely going to see a very, very slight bullish relief, especially if Bitcoin plays out something similar, maybe just a little bit more of a bullish relief towards some of these points of resistance in the short term. Would likely see something similar as we approach these points of resistance. And then obviously once we get towards those levels, continue to expect struggle in the short term. But then eventually, if we at some point see a breakout above ideally $21 and hold above that area, especially if that's happening while we're seeing a continued pullback in the Bitcoin dominance, of course, in that situation, that'll be extremely bullish for Chainlink and a lot of the altcoins. And in that situation, I would expect a bullish move at least up towards around $24. But once again, only if we first confirm a breakout above $20 to $21. And once again, if you want to take these trading opportunities for yourself to make a lot of easy profits in the crypto market, like what I'm doing right now with my Ethereum trade, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And if you use the links below this video to those exchanges, you can take advantage of some major trading and deposit bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can take trades just like this for yourself, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit during choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.